Hello and welcome everyone to another episode. Yes, not an instant takeoff. No, wait, I gotta control, or no, disable, yeah, and control from here. Perfect. There we go. Yeah, looking good. Amazing. Let's just check to see if these tanks are all good. Oh my god, I don't have SAS on. There we go. Everything's looking pretty good. It doesn't seem... Yeah, that's okay. I think so. I think everything will be alright. So yeah, a lot of new stuff has been going on lately, guys. Really, I've been just unbelievably busy. I don't think I've mentioned this, but, you know, the girlfriend's back in town, and she's been back in town for, you know, about 2 weeks now, and I've been spending a lot of time with her. Since I don't get to see her very often, it really is kind of nice. So, the other busyness, been related to Kerbal, but not really. I live in New York, as most of you know. I ended up going to the Museum of Natural History, and, yeah, freaking amazing. That's all I gotta say. I had a lot of fun. I saw the whole Big Bang exhibit that they have, and just amazing stuff on space compared to a lot of museums. I've been to the Field Museum in Chicago. I've been to Smithsonian. I've been to the Museum of Natural History, and oh god, here it comes. There we go. Oh god. Oh god. Yeah, this rocket isn't completely stable. I have not figured out the staging 100%. Well, it's not really the staging. These tanks draw at different rates, so one of them tends to run out, and then the other one still has a little bit left. So that's kind of the little bit of a problem. But yeah, anyways, I saw a bunch of the asteroids and stuff that we've collected over the years and stuff like that they have there, along with an actual piece of moon rock that was taken on Apollo 14, I believe, which was freaking amazing. That's all I gotta say. It's just, you know, when you look at it though, it's just such an insignificant piece of the moon, and you're looking at it, you're like, come on, is there any more that... I want to see, like, when I picture moon rocks, I picture, like, something that we took from the moon. I just, to me, I've always pictured, like, just massive chunks of the moon. I mean, I'm not talking about, like, a car-sized piece, but this was roughly the size of maybe a, I don't even know. Maybe if you took two golf balls and kind of and held them next to each other, that's basically how big it was. So I'm not going to say that the significance of that piece is there wasn't any. I think it was amazing just to even see something like that, and to know that we actually visited, picked up that actual human picked up that piece and decided to bring it back. The significance of that is just amazing to me. So I just looking at it alone, I was just kind of in awe a little bit of it. And the worst part about the whole exhibit of the moon rock that I was kind of a little bit upset with out of anything is the fact that the rock itself, the exhibit for the rock, was in such a bad location. I mean, if you're trying to cover moon, make the moon look cool and everything else, it was basically in the side of, like, almost like a side of the pillar or something like that. That was basically part of the structure, and it's just this little tiny hole in the wall compared to, they have like a fully bronze moon, you know, an accurate bronze moon. I don't know exactly what scale it was at and everything else, but, you know, it's like kind of right off to the side of that, and you barely can even see it right next to it and everything. There's just a little plaque, a little tiny window. I would say it's maybe a foot or so, and we really need to turn over here. Wow. I kind of screwed this one up. There we go. Come on. Give us the power back. There we go. Yeah, this takeoff wasn't the most conventional. I don't usually do my takeoffs like this, but Yeah, so I was a little upset with the fact that this moon rock is basically being stored in basically the side of a wall in a one foot by like 6-inch display, and I'm just like, yeah, don't you think you guys could, like, highlight this a little bit more, considering there's only so many places that actually have a piece of moon rock? But yeah, it was amazing stuff. I mean, the exhibit, if you were wanting to go there, I would recommend going to the Smithsonian over uh, Museum of Natural History any day. And oh my god, kill the engines, turn on the RCS. Whoa, this is not good. I would recommend going to the Smithsonian only because, wow, we are not pointed the right direction. Come on, keep going, keep going. Hopefully we don't reach our AP here anytime soon. Come on, come on. Come on. Losing speed. Even though the speed isn't really that much of an issue, but... Go, go, go! There we go. No, I would say going to the Smithsonian is a lot better. They have... this is recalling from memory from about... I would say about 7 years ago when I went there. They had, the spacesuits, and they even had, like, the food, and just, like, literally every single piece of the Apollo missions, and, the Gemini missions, and Mercury missions, and stuff like that. They just had everything. I don't remember, but there's a part of me that wants to say that there was an actual, like, somewhat replica size space shuttle inside, but I can't remember fully if that was that museum, because I've been to another, I believe it was an aeronautics museum in Michigan that was kind of dedicated towards a lot of this stuff, and sure enough, they all sold the same space ice cream that's actually, I don't believe, has ever been to space, so, or the astronaut ice cream, whatever you want to call it. But, I have been, I had a lot of fun there. It was really cool stuff. I should have took a lot more pictures. I didn't really take that many. And, I'm not, like, big on taking pictures as it is. So I just never really cared so much. And, yeah, so that's what we did. Spent way too much money, but that's a total different thing. And, I had a lot of fun with everything. It was really good. I would recommend going to the Field Museum for other things other than space, but their space exhibit is pretty good. And the coolest thing is they actually have this, it's more like a giant sphere, basically, and they compare sizes through the sphere. So if you were to, one part of it's like, okay, so if the Earth is this big, then this is how big, if the sphere is the sun, which the sphere is basically, I would say about, let's say, it looks like we're out of fuel. I would say the sphere is maybe about 40 to 50 feet high, and they're like, if the sphere is the sun, then the Earth is this big, and you basically get to see these comparisons, and we have not been doing very well this mission. My God. Let's see, I don't really think I'm going to keep any of this. I don't think I really need it. So let's get rid of this. And, yeah, so the sphere and everything, and, like, I was with my girlfriend, and she's looking at it, and she just, like, basically, at one point, when she realized how small the Earth is compared to, like, everything, the universe and everything else, she's like, we're insignificant. We're little grains of sand on the beach. I'm like, yeah, you haven't noticed these kinds of things before? I mean, I'm not trying to say that, like, I fully grasp it, because scale is one thing that, like, just us as a species can't really, you can say 100 trillion billion, you can have, like, this insane number, and just throw that number out, and you can't actually mentally grasp that concept of how big something is. And, it's just the funniest thing when you, certain things when you see, it's just really funny. And my music is like bugging out right now. I don't know what's going on. So this is saying 13 seconds. I think I should start like right now. Yeah, I knew there was going to be problems. So yeah, she just kind of looked at me and she's like, I can't believe how small everything is. I'm like, yeah. I was like, don't say that under certain circumstances, but yes, things are very small. But yeah, so the station, I'm really hoping comes out really well. The one thing I think somebody has mentioned already in the comments is, yeah, that thing looks really cool, but what happens when you start hitting your part barrier, when things start slowing down? And I really don't have any contingencies for any of that. So when it starts happening, I mean, I'm not overly worried with that, at least for right now. The main reasoning also is because once the main structure is in, the main floor, or whatever you want to call it, the main structure, I guess just main structure of the entire station is in, I'm not concerned with getting the rest there, because most of it is going to be simple fuel tanks and simple habitation modules and stuff like that, where it's not going to take a lot to get it docked up and everything, and it's only going to add a few extra pieces here and there. And I'm talking like, you know, I have RCS planned to, you know, RCS tanks to be planned to be brought there, and the RCS tanks basically are going to take up maybe 4 parts, 5 parts each one. I'm not like 100% certain. You got the 2 docking ports and and you know, maybe 3 tanks or 4 tanks. It really depends. Let's see. There we go. That's looking beautiful. Bring that back. Come on. Give me something I can actually work with. I think that's relatively good. I think if I increase that a little bit, yeah, that's probably way too close already as it is. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I don't want, I would rather have like a very, a less, or the angle, I would rather have to not change that so much. Let's see, alright, there, perfect, everything's looking good. Alright, we do have power generation too. I always forget to put power generation on like everything, so it's just so unbelievable. The other thing I gotta mention too, and I just found this out, these things actually hold RCS fuel. I did not know this. I did not know that these cupola modules actually have RCS storage on them. I did not even... I think it must have been added at some point, and I just never really noticed it, so... Let's see. Bring this down, come on. We just... I don't know how long the burn's going to be at. 2 minutes? That's not bad. So yeah, the Field Museum, or I mean, Museum of Natural History was really good stuff, and I do say that anyone who is really interested, I mean, it more interested in like the Big Bang and stuff. I also saw the, they have a planetarium show there as well. I watched most of that, which was actually, I saw pretty much all of it except for like maybe 3-4 seconds at the end or whatever, or a minute or so at the end, because I had to leave. And we were basically there until closing, and the planetarium show was actually voiced. The commentary was done by Neil deGrasse Tyson. I believe I said his name right. Neil deGrasse Tyson, something. I know who he is, and he does more of the PBS side stuff, I believe. I'm not 100% certain, but yeah. Anyways, guys, I'll see you once we get to the mega station. Alright, looking amazing. Yeah, it's funny, I thought I was recording when I was getting here and all that stuff, but apparently I forgot. Yeah, I usually have a slip of the finger every now and again, and I push buttons that I shouldn't push. So yeah, whatever. But anyways, back to the planetarium and all that good stuff. I enjoy all of that, and I have been unbelievably happy that I have been able to actually go and see a lot of this stuff. I mean, most people don't really get to see it on, you know, any kind of a normal basis. Most of the time, usually most people don't even care enough to even bother to go see it, which I don't even understand why. I mean, most of this stuff, you're talking some of the greatest achievements of mankind. I just fail to understand how people don't have any real interest in any of it in any kind of way, and that is kind of worrisome in a lot of in the grander scheme of things. The other thing I find really weird is the fact that even though I understand that, you know, Kerbal Space Program isn't exactly... Shouldn't we be... Oh, it's going to do 2 full orbits by the time we catch... Wow. Okay. Mostly, Kerbal Space Program, that's the other thing I was going to get back to. The one thing I've noticed, too, is it has been accepted by a lot of the... you know, major science, you know, you're talking NASA and everywhere else, where they have kind of basically noticed that this game does exist, and it is pretty freaking amazing, and everything else, and it's just funny how a lot of the stuff really hasn't really caught on as much as I thought it was going to. Mostly because, with, like, Minecraft, it did take a while, and I'm going to say that it did take a long time after release for major companies and stuff like that to start, you know, either licensing merchandise or anything like that. I don't know if it's actually licensed merchandise, you know, that Notch actually approved and everything else, but I'm surprised that there weren't Kerbal plush dolls inside the museum. I mean, stuff like that. Kids see this kind of stuff. I mean, there's these generic stuffed bears that are dressed in spacesuits and monkeys in spacesuits and stuff like that, and I want to see a Kerbal. Like, if a kid saw these kinds of things, I mean, I always get reminded of the Kerbals whenever I see the guys from Despicable Me, because I always think they kind of look like them a little bit, but that's just me. They kind of have like the same, you know, they're kind of like the same kind of type of character. At least I think so a little bit. So I'm going to quick save here. I should have done that a while ago, but whatever. Now this thing, I turned off the SAS because it was getting a little unstable. So I was a little worried that this thing was going to start freaking out or something. So, alright, we're getting pretty close now. Let's just slow down a little bit. Just a little bit. And I can already tell that the frame rate is starting to take a little bit of a poop on us, but that's not that bad. We're down to like 15 frames a second, so that's roughly not... I've dealt with worse frame rate in this game before, especially with the Mega Station build, or not the Mega Station, but the mega builds of basically, what is it, the Jewel Carriers and stuff like that, and the Jewel Explorers. Those things were just nutty. So, alright, slow down. Alright, this thing is not gonna give me the control I want. I would prefer if we didn't float this way. That would not, it would make things a little bit easier for me. Come on. There we go. That's looking really good. So let's see. Turn on the RCS and just kind of fix everything up here a little bit, because we're not really going in the right direction. Come on. It's behemoth piece. It's not really heavy, though, I will say that. I mean, overall, the weight of this one module isn't that bad where I can't get any kind of, This music is really freaking out right now. I don't know what's going on. Now, this module isn't big where it's to the point where it's like basically an unmaneuverable piece, but it is getting there. So I'll cover a little bit on the piece that was added, which was this big piece right here. It really has it's almost about the same as the rest of them, except for, you know, a few things. One of them being that it doesn't have this connection piece, any other connection piece, except for one that is just right here. So that's just kind of the closing off of the station. Basically, it's not going to grow in this direction anymore than what it already has. So let's see. That is looking really good. Just line this up a little bit. I want to try to at least get this thing somewhat centered before I start screwing around. So that is looking good. And just turn it a little bit. But the planetarium, I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but the planetarium I should have mentioned before, that show was actually very good compared to most planetarium shows I've been to before. A lot of them are really just subpar, or they don't really have that great of a speaker. One of them I went to had Mark Hamill, and it was really not that great to watch. So I didn't really enjoy much of it in any kind of way. So it was a little boring. Now let's... Alright, no, we need to go this way. There we go. Perfect. Now, this station is starting to get up there in parts. I did mention this before, but it's not that bad, to be honest. I mean, I am running 13, 14 frames a second with what we got, and I don't plan on it getting too much bigger than, you know, this, other than basically there will be this whole part here basically added on that will be connected up over here. So just come down a little bit, and then we just cancel out this motion here in a second. It's looking amazing. There we go. Start slowing down. That looks really good, actually. Alright, is it going to zero out? I don't think so. Oh, yeah, there we go. So we need to go... Yeah, there we go. I always get... With the translation controls, I always get a little bit confused at times with basically how everything works. There's sometimes where basically, you know, H and N, I don't switch over for the docking mode. I don't really care so much to use any of that stuff. It doesn't... I've always learned just using HNIJKL. And it works really well, but the thing is you just got to remember your keys very well. But as you guys all know, I've done some really crazy docking procedure in the entire time I've been playing this game, and so I never really get overly challenged with docking. The only time I do is with surface docking, which never, ever goes the way you plan it, basically. I mean, some of the time it does, some of the times it doesn't. That's all I can say about that. It really does change out a lot. Alright, there we go. That's looking really good. Now we need to go over. Yeah, there we go. And I think this is going to be a very easy docking compared to most. Most of the time, I have some kind of a problem. And I always say it's going to be easy docking too, and it always ends up turning out to be a problem. The thing is with this too, is you have to basically fly by eye. You can't really dock up just conventionally using the nav ball. It does work a little bit. It gives you some information. Mostly, I just focus on this to make sure that I'm zeroing out everything and everything's pretty much lined up. But everything else, I can't really use. Which I don't use docking cameras or anything like that, too. I shouldn't mention that. I don't like using any of that stuff. I think it's kind of worthless. Docking cameras look cool to me. It looks like a really cool thing to add, like if you're trying to add realism to your game. But I don't use it for anything. I don't use that mod or anything. Alright, so let's turn off RCS. We just gotta turn a little bit. I feel like we're a little bit off center. There we go. So, yeah, this one should push us forward. I really hope it doesn't push us off in any other direction. I know we're not 100% lined up. Alright, that's cool. I can see it fire through here. That's good. We're a little bit off. Just go off by... There we go. The problem is, too, is just that these controls take a little while to give you feedback. There we go. Alright, that's looking amazing. Go on. Come on. No whammies. No whammies. No whammies. No whammies. Come on. Come on. Are we off? No, it's amazing. There we go. That's beautiful. That is absolutely freaking amazing. Holy crap, guys. Now, let's see. We're going to have to get another solar panel out here. That is going to be... See, I was thinking I put the solar panel in the wrong place, sort of. But I think I'm okay with the way it is. Because basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another one right here. So they're going to be a little bit angled in a way. But I think it's still going to come out really awesome. See, I ended up thinking as well that if the solar panels were right here, if there was one here and one here, then they would both be facing the sun at all times. And I didn't compensate for that in my mind in any kind of way when I was designing this. And I didn't even think about it because, you know, hexagon building, it just, you don't really, yeah. And so that is kind of one of the little bit of a problem with how it turned out, but I'm not overly concerned. The other thing I should have mentioned, I put antennas on here. Yeah, never mind, I'm kidding. But yeah, this is the piece I added off camera. I've been keeping the SAS off because it's been freaking out a little bit here and there, but it's not that bad. But this thing is really starting to come together really well, and I'm kind of getting a little bit giddy to where I want to just finish it off now. So yeah, I'll be here transferring fuel out and all that good stuff, and yeah. So if you guys like what you see here, subscribe. There's always more to come. To all you new people, welcome. And yeah, I will see you next time.